A survey was done quite recently in the US that showed the average adult uses 12 personal care products every day. Now, while that number hasn't changed much for the average woman over the past 2 decades, in the case of men, this number has almost doubled from 6 products back in 2004 to 11 this year. The demand for better skincare products keeps rising thanks to consumer awareness of skincare routines through the power of social media and online platforms that feed an increased focus on health and beauty. Now, the cosmetic industry is highly competitive, and the need for cutting-edge, rapid-acting, potent technology is greatly felt as people wait and watch out for the next big thing to take over the market. Hi, I'm Dr. Sharon, clinical dermatologist, and while it's been here for several decades, nanotechnology in the field of cosmeceuticals has been promising, and nanocosmeceuticals are now increasingly coming under the spotlight while answering questions and overcoming obstacles on the road to better skincare. But do we need to be worried about its impact on our health? To find out, let's zoom in a little closer on nanoparticles in our skin and hair care. Nanotechnology essentially involves the manipulation of matter on a nanoscale that is less than 100 nanometers. For reference, a strand of human hair is roughly between 80,000 nanometers and 100,000 nanometers. Now, particles that have been reduced to this size demonstrate different and unique properties from their original standard sizes, and this branch of science, engineering, and technology focuses on understanding and controlling them to produce specific desired results. Now, the first time I remember hearing about nanotechnology was probably from the movie Agent Cody Banks, where a mad scientist planned to use nanobots for his evil plans to destroy the world, or a part of, typical villain doctrine. So 2 decades after the release of that movie, I ask, do we need to be worried about them taking over the world? Nanomaterials, of course, not tiny evil nanobots. That's science fiction, right? If we were to dive back into the history of nanotechnology, an important name would be that of physicist Richard Feynman, who in 1959 delivered his iconic speech that inspired and challenged scientists to push the limits on matter and think on a small scale for larger applications. Now we see the use of nanomaterials in various fields, for example, healthcare diagnostics, drug delivery systems, medicines. The COVID vaccine contains nanoparticles, then textiles, electronics, aerospace, automotive industry, etc. As part of the cosmetic industry, nanotechnology has been on the scene for around 40 years. Now, different types of nanoparticles exist based on the type of their material. Now, they may be inorganic, metal, or metal oxides. Examples include copper, gold, silver, platinum, zinc oxide, etc. Then we have the carbon types, which are used in electronics, in your aircraft manufacturing, and in your automotive industry. Then we have the organic polymer types, which include liposomes. Now, liposomes were one of the earliest forms of nanotechnology used in cosmetics. Fun fact, the first commercial liposomal anti-aging cream was released in 1986 by Christian Dior. Cosmeceuticals is an amalgamation of a cosmetic product that is intended for beautifying and therapeutic or medicinal ingredients. So, what are the advantages of nanocosmeceuticals? Everything revolves around its small size. Now, this leads to a high surface area to volume ratio, and an important application of this property is seen in your sunscreens, which use titanium dioxide and zinc oxide nanoparticles, and they do not leave a white cast on your skin as compared to regular physical sunscreens. Secondly, they are highly reactive, again because of their small size, and they can easily penetrate through barriers and biological membranes, thus increasing their efficacy and reducing the need for a greater dose, which could lead to side effects and potential toxicity of a product or a medicine. So in a nutshell, because of their extremely small size, these particles have better absorption, improved stability, controlled release, and can be guided for targeted delivery for specific concerns. Now, a few examples. In skin cancer, nanoparticles have been used for targeted therapy so as to avoid the normal healthy cells, reduce side effects, and the use of nanotechnology in this field can help overcome challenges posed by conventional radio and chemotherapy. Hair care products, including shampoos, make use of nanoparticles for better delivery of medicinal ingredients aimed at hair loss, graying, etc. Then, as I mentioned earlier, physical sunscreens also make use of nano ingredients, and this is a more aesthetically pleasing choice. Moisturizers also extensively use nanoparticles, and this helps improve the effect of the products by retaining more moisture, and this can particularly benefit those who have a defective skin barrier, like those who suffer from atopic dermatitis, psoriasis, etc. Anti-aging creams also commonly use nanoparticles. An important ingredient would be fullerenes, which are a type of carbon nanoparticle which has strong antioxidant properties. Now, this helps neutralize free radicals in your skin, which develop in one way from exposure to UV radiation, and it causes damage to your skin and accelerates skin aging. Besides that, it is also photoprotective, both from the UV spectrum and the visible light spectrum, making fullerenes a good candidate for sunscreens and skincare products. Now, nanoparticles also benefit organic and skincare by offering more stability to these formulations, thus making them last longer. Now, a few examples of cosmetic giants that make use of nanotechnology in your cosmetics include L'Oreal, Procter & Gamble, Avon, Estee Lauder, Johnson & Johnson, Max Factor, etc. So what about the concerns surrounding nanoparticles? Research is still underway regarding the long-term hazards of exposure to nanoparticles, either through contact with skin or through other modes such as inhalation. Then environmental impact or effect on potential ecosystems are other areas of concern, either during the production of nanoparticles or when these particles get expelled into the soil or water bodies at the time of disposal. Some studies have linked DNA damage and brain damage in fishes to nanoparticles. Then nanoparticles released from automobile emissions may have negative effects such as tissue inflammation, cell death, cell toxicity, DNA damage, lung inflammation, neurological problems, etc. Now, while reports have shown that you don't necessarily have to worry about the nano titanium dioxide and zinc oxide particles in your sunscreen from passing through your skin membrane and entering your bloodstream, inhalation of these particles, either from the sprays or the powders, may still lead to a potential risk of lung inflammation and further damage. However, human studies are limited for now. What about regulation? Now, various countries have their own protocol when it comes to dealing with cosmetics and cosmeceutical products. Now, these regulations help evaluate nanomaterials and provide guidance on their safe use. Their physiochemical properties are tested, risk assessment, routes of exposure are also analyzed. Now, the US has the FDA and the Environmental Protection Agency that help oversee this industry, and they are quite different from the European Union's cosmetic regulations. Now, the EU has definitions on what constitutes nanomaterials, but the FDA does not have a legal definition. The EU is more strict, poses a lot more restrictions as compared to the US counterparts, thus making it easier to put a lot more products out in the US market. Last year, the EU in fact proposed a ban for several nano ingredients used in cosmetics, including copper, colloidal silver, colloidal gold, platinum, etc. And a few reasons behind this proposed ban include systemic potential toxicity via dermal penetration, thus affecting organs such as your liver and spleen, and probably more DNA damage. So while nanotechnology does seem to be extremely beneficial, there is growing evidence for potential damage on human life and the environment, and we're left with an incomplete picture. Yes, nanotechnology does seem to deliver promising results, but the question we are left with is, are we ready to pay the price for it when we are finally handed the bill? And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was a stimulating topic and got you thinking more about nanomaterials in your skin and hair care. Until my next video, bye.